Greg, first of all, welcome to the club. How excited are you to have joined our youth development setup?
Yeah, honestly, really excited. It came as a conversation with Paul Thurwell, who I know really well from my time in senior level, and he was laughing about me coaching under 13s, under 14s. He said, "You won't want to do that, will you? You won't want to go back." And it's something that really appeals to me, to be honest. And the last couple of years have been tough, and something a little bit less stressful, something more enjoyable, and something that you think, well, you see them develop and improve. You think that's something I enjoy, something I've liked, and something I've never lost the desire to do. So I'm looking forward to it, and gets me out there and get me boots back, get the Copper Bundy Owls back out, and see if they're still dusted down and all right.
I was going to ask you about Furs as well. What was he like to manage, and did you always anticipate that he was going to go on and become a coach?
Kurt, that was a nightmare. Absolute nightmare. But he's one of them. He was more organised than me.
Yeah.
He wanted to know what was happening before I even knew what we were doing. But he was brilliant in the dressing room. He looked after the dressing room. Him and Peter Murphy were fantastic, along with Danny Livesey, and I could almost relax and let them to it. And then, obviously, anything serious, they'd come to me and say, "Listen, we think we need a bit more of that or a bit less than that." And you listen to people like that because you knew that it was for the greater good, and he had everybody on side, and they got on with it. And that's really important, that your dressing room's good. And there was no doubt in my mind he'd go on to coach, manage one day. Who knows? But at the minute his partnership with Simon's working, and I first spoke to Simon when you were in the National League North about players, and
yeah.
I couldn't really help him because I think the budget for a centre forward is about £100 a week. And now you're competing with the very best in League Two, and more than competing, and the only way, hopefully, is forward for the club.
So tell us a little bit about your playing career, first of all. Over 100 appearances for the likes of Bradford City and Hull. You must have some really fond memories from playing the game.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I've done 47 years, but this is the first year that I've not been actually connected with a senior squad for the start of the season. Started at Coventry as a 16-year-old. That's my own town club, and unfortunately got released and ended up at Bradford, and I've stayed in Yorkshire ever since. All my kids are born and bred Yorkshire people now, and the time at Bradford was really special, and the time at Hull at the end of my career was great. I had over 100 games at Hull, probably a little bit more than 100 at Bradford, more like 300, but I can't exact the number. But no, it was a good club, still is a good club. Lost its way a little bit, like many clubs can do, when layers at the top are not quite just right and not aligned, but they seem to be on the way back now, and the fan base is buying into what they're doing. So it gives me a little bit of content to know that that's back in safe hands, and they're doing well again.
And then you moved into coaching after playing. Was that something you were always interested in as a player, and what kind of made your mind up to go into the coaching role?
Yeah, I mean, funny enough, from someone that played for Bradford, I ended up at Leeds for 5 years,
Yeah.
which is a bit strange, but actually loved it. It was a great time on the youth side with the likes of Aaron Lennon, James Milner, Fabian Delph, Danny Rose, Johnny House, and people like that. It was a brilliant time. Some really good players, and one of my pride and joys is I've got Aaron's shirt with a thank you message on him when we played Carlisle. I was manager of Carlisle, and we played him in the FA Cup, and he gave me a shirt after the game with that signed, and that's pride of place because he was one of the best young players I've ever worked with. But yeah, so that was the start, doing all the hard yards early on with the younger age groups, and then I got, by chance, Neil MacDonald needed an assistant, and he asked me to go up to Carlisle, and I just thought, it's a chance to get senior stuff, which is, you've got to try yourself, I think, at senior stuff if you're that way inclined. That sort of went quickly into sort of management stuff, and all of a sudden I'm thrust into the game as a manager at quite young, and and that was the start of my senior sort of coaching, managing, recruiting career, and I've been around quite a few places since then, and ended up back at Carlisle, just recently, which wasn't a great spell and was hard work, but it is what it is. That's, you have your ups and downs at football clubs, and now I'm at an age where I just want a little bit less pain and stress, and enjoy my weekends a little bit more rather than look at the result, and everything works around win, lose or draw. It dictates what you do, what your mindset is. I've got grandchildren now, which is fantastic, and there's a lot of me now wants to give them as much as I've given football, because my own kids growing up, you sort of miss them a little bit, but I'm not doing that with my grandkids, and that's part of the reason why this works fantastically well for what I'm trying to do now.
Good. And you mentioned some of those players who were coming through at Leeds while you were there. Is that one of the most rewarding things as a coach, to see those kind of players continue to develop as people as well as players, and then go on to have some of the careers they've had?
I think you've nailed it, as people. If you can improve the kids as people as well as players, and then further down the line you see Aaron playing for England, Danny Rose playing for England, Fabian Delph playing for England, and then you think, well, the small bit of an impact you had with them, Johnny Howson was another one, great career. And you look back at and think, yeah, just some small things you might have said to them might have just helped along the way. Hopefully they would say that, but it certainly gives you a lot of pride to. And this is what this bit's like. You do get a bit older, a little bit slower, maybe not be as active on the training ground as I was, but I will try. I can promise you that I will try. But you want to pass on some energy and some enthusiasm to the kids and make sure they enjoy it. And if they can learn along the way, job's done really at any age up to 16. As long as they enjoy themselves, they're enthused by what you're doing, they get some good information. You can go home and feel really satisfied with yourself. Whether it's a team that's going to, go and win the Premiership, or it's a team of young players like there will be at Harrogate that are on their way and starting out their career, it's just as important.
Yeah, is that one of the most exciting things for you about this new role, is to hopefully oversee what will be the next generation of Harrogate Town players? Our academy over the past few years has already gone from strength to strength, but seeing those continue to develop and grow this club.
It's what it's all about. It's getting players from the Harrogate and a bit further beyond involved, excited. There's a pathway here. There's definitely a pathway. You can get into Harrogate's Town first team. I mean, I was at Everton, their academy on Saturday, and I'm just looking round at the players playing. I'm thinking, can they really force their way into the Premiership at Everton? It's a really tough gig. Here, you've got a much better chance, and you get into the team here. The football's like a lottery ticket. You can go on and play in the Premiership, and you start. But this is what you'll always remember. I always remembered my starting club, which was Coventry, which was a good club at the time. But this could start a lot of careers, and everybody wins if we can get some players through. Everybody wins. The club wins, and the players are on a win. It gets a good reputation. Other people want to have a try at it, and realistically think that, yeah, I can be playing out here and in what's an exciting time for the club, new training ground and such as in place, plans in place. It's really good, and where this club has come it's incredible. It's actually a credit and a model that most clubs in League Two should be looking at following. They max out everything they spend. They try and get their money back or money's worth for that, and they pick the right people. Not always the best people in terms of ability, but the best people in terms of attitude and commitment and desire. And they've gone on from strength to strength, and now they're really competitive. Nobody likes coming here to play, and that's got spread throughout the the youth ranks as well. They've got to have the same mindset and the same sort of ideas that the club are bringing out from the top of it through Simon and the ownership group.
And just touching on the people as well, you've come in and met some of the rest of the coaches. It's a really exciting coaching group we've set up here for the youth development pathway. The likes of Josh Falkingham, obviously legend at the club, former club captain, and Kevin Wilson, former international footballer. Do you like what you see so far of working with them?
Yeah, I coached Josh at Leeds as an 11-year-old, so I know Josh really, really well. And when I sort of said to him I'm interested in coming, he was as pleased as I was to be back together again, because it was me, unfortunately, that had to tell him that he was going to be let go by Leeds, and that was really, really tough. But then to see him have an unbelievable career and even say probably prove you wrong, because you want to be proved wrong. You don't want to be right when you tell people they're not going to be good enough. You want to be proved wrong, and he proved everybody wrong. And he's starting out now on his career in coaching and developing players and stuff like that. Kev's been around the block. I've known Kev years. I've just had a crack with him there, and another one, bundles of experience. And if we can help the players and maybe even help some of the coaches in terms of the way you speak to players and what a good session looks like, what you're trying to get out of it, that means a lot to me. You know what I mean? It's just something that I'm going to be enjoying, and the more you enjoy something, the harder you work, and probably the better you are at it. So it's a good one for everybody. But yeah, the coaching group was terrific. Very young, and I was the only one that had an extra medium kit that nobody else could get into, so I got a bit of stick for that, which I was pleased about, and they weren't shy on having a bit of a go at me, so it was all good. It was all good spirits, and yeah, looking forward to working with them.
Well, it's great to have you on board, and thank you for your time.
Not a problem, and let's hope we're having another chat about a success story along the way.
Cheers.